Having a good thermal imager is great, lots of fun. When there's line of sight, it'll spot people from stupidly far away, even through fog. But is it truly as unbeatable as people say? Thermal imaging, with regards to the gun culture, feels like where night vision was at 4 years ago. With higher quality units becoming more accessible, being able to hide from handheld thermals will only increase in relevancy. While I don't expect that anything short of a spacesuit will completely eliminate thermal signature, our standards should be more reasonable than total elimination. Hiding from cooled, long-range, and vehicle-mounted thermals will almost certainly be impossible while remaining mobile, so let us instead focus on defeating the thermals commonly in the hands of individual officers and other citizens, such as the ubiquitous RH-25. You can see in these clips what this unit is capable of when conditions and terrain are favorable, especially during the winter in alpine environments where sight lines open up and more human bodies start to stand out against frozen ground. Before acquiring a thermal, I had a hunch that layered ponchos might be able to provide some signature reduction. This first test will be a 3-layer system. The outer layer is a lightweight rain poncho that can heat and cool very quickly to match the ambient temperature. Under this is an insulated wooby so that transfer of body heat to the outer layer is limited. The advantage of a poncho over traditional winter clothing is that it will maintain better ventilation and drape further away from the body than fitted insulation layers. This should help prevent heat from being concentrated as much at the limb and neck holes. The final layer to cover the head and neck is a sniper veil draped over a helmet with nods. The helmet and night vision should help create offset between the veil and my mouth so that my breath doesn't keep it constantly heated. And the veil should be lightweight and loose enough that it will cool quickly with a bit of crosswind. This is a quick indoor test of the system. Indoor tests are far from ideal because of the low background thermal variance, but they'll still spot any immediate hotspots that need to be addressed. Taking the test outside, where the ambient temperature is around 45 degrees, we can see how the layers initially respond to body heat. The wooby heats up fairly quickly, reaching an exterior thermal maximum roughly comparable to the interior of my car. While the outer poncho heats nearly instantly as I touch it, it also cools rapidly in the cold night air. The veil also heats and cools rapidly, using the nods to keep it draped far enough from my mouth that it isn't constantly warmed by my breath will be key. After a quick hike up the hill and back, roughly 1.5 miles and a few hundred feet of vertical gain, I set up the thermal to see how well the camo performed after some heat buildup. I've been sweating a bit, but the system is not prohibitively hot. I can maintain an easy uphill pace indefinitely in these conditions. I'm intending to stop about every 25 yards or so, though I didn't measure out any distances. Note how a single layer of veil does almost nothing to hide my signature, but doubling it up is fairly effective. There's also significant heat buildup by the shoulders and pecs, where the ponchos are pressed down by their own weight onto my body. At about 60 to 70 yards or so, we can see that most of my body's signature is similar to the surrounding trees and rocks, with the exception of the upper torso hotspots, my face, and my uncovered legs. Again, doubling up the veil mitigates most of the face's signature, but the upper torso still sticks out. So after the night hiking test, we know that at least 2 layers of veil are needed for the head, and that we must do something to insulate the shoulders, create standoff between the poncho and the body, or both. Fortunately, there's a cheap material that will do both of these things effectively: Reflectix. Rolls of Reflectix are practically shaped for this purpose already. All that's needed is to cut a square piece big enough to cover the hot spots and a hole for the head. For this test, the background temperature is roughly 30 degrees, and as you can see, this simple solution works relatively well. For the next round of testing, I will experiment with adding multiple layers and a collar to the head hole and perform light exertion, heat buildup tests to see what amount and design of Reflectix is needed to keep those shoulder hotspots from forming. So far, I am pleased with these results. While it's not exactly practical to walk around at night with netting over your nods and multiple ponchos on, it isn't that uncomfortable, and these are mostly things I would be carrying in an assault pack to begin with. The reflectix can even be added to your sleep system to increase the R value of your sleeping pad. I probably won't be wearing this system during my regular night hikes, but during the hunting season when the woods are crawling with wardens, or whenever else I want to hide from people with thermals, I'll definitely be wearing it. I will also do some testing to see how fast the system can be pulled out of an assault pack and donned at night. Stay tuned for future iterations.